The universe doesn't make mistakes. Only miracles disguised as accidents. Mars Colony X7 was supposed to be humanity's greatest achievement. Instead, it became our greatest mystery when the storm hit. No one survives the crimson blizzards of Mars. That's what they tell you at Academy. The particles strip flesh from bone in minutes, leaving nothing but red dust where hope once stood. Yet here we were, four desperate explorers trapped in the wreckage of Odyssey 9, our research vessel now nothing but twisted metal against the Martian landscape. The storm had appeared from nowhere, a swirling red monster that swallowed our ship whole. Power's dropping fast, Dr. Ellie Chen announced, her fingers dancing across the half-functional control panel. 3 hours left. Maybe less. Commander Jackson Stone, Jack, to his friends, rubbed his hands together, the specialized thermal gloves already stiffening with collected ice particles. The temperature regulation systems were failing. "We need to find shelter," he said firmly. "This ship won't protect us much longer." Their plan was desperate, but necessary. Go outside, search for any natural cave formation or secondary wreckage nearby, and return before the next temperature plunge. Jack and Ellie would venture out. The others, Marcus and Sophia, would stay behind to keep what remained of the heating system operational. Wrapped in their thermal exosuits, Jack and Ellie stepped out into Mars Fury. The red sand crunched beneath their boots as hurricane-force winds pushed against them. The howl of the storm filled their helmets despite the suit's sophisticated sound dampening. Every step felt like wading through cosmic quicksand. Then suddenly, Jack's scanner emitted a sharp beep. He froze mid-stride. "Ellie, I'm picking up something." "What is it?" "Another piece of the ship." "No," he said slowly, adjusting the settings. "It's weak, but it's alive." They followed the signal across a small ridge. 10 meters away, half buried in the crimson sand, lay a body. Jack's breath caught in his throat. It's a person." They rushed closer, stumbling through the sand. But what they found wasn't human. The figure was female with iridescent silver-blue skin and strange, luminous markings across her face. Her hair was white and fine like spun starlight. Her clothing, what remained of it, appeared to be a bodysuit made from material they'd never seen before, now torn and partially fused to her skin by the cold. Her delicate fingers were stiff and bluish. Yet despite everything, her chest moved ever so slightly. "She's alive," Ellie whispered in disbelief. "Barely," Jack replied. They didn't discuss or debate. They simply acted. Jack dropped to his knees and carefully brushed away the red sand covering her face while Ellie checked vitals with her portable scanner. "Heart rate is slow but steady. She's in deep hypothermia. She'll die in minutes if we don't do something," Ellie said urgently. "We can't bring her back to the shuttle like this," Jack said. "The heater's too weak to save her." Ellie looked at him intently through her helmet visor. "Then there's only one way." He nodded. "Body heat." They pulled the mysterious being into a shallow trench in the sand, covered her with thermal emergency blankets, and pressed close on both sides. Jack wrapped his arms around her back while Ellie held her ice-cold hands. The storm raged above them, but their makeshift shelter blocked the worst of it. Still, the bitter cold penetrated their suits. Time crawled by agonizingly slow. They began to wonder if they'd found her too late. Then her fingers twitched. Her chest rose more definitely. Her eyes opened slowly, luminous silver eyes that seemed to contain galaxies within them. She stared up at Jack with unfocused confusion. She blinked several times before whispering a broken, musical word. "Why save me?" Jack didn't know what to say. He only replied softly, "Because you're alive." She stared at him, puzzled, her voice weak and her accent strange. "Humans do not save. They destroy." "We're not here to destroy," Ellie said gently. "We're explorers." "You were dying." The silver-skinned woman closed her eyes again, but before she drifted back to unconsciousness, she whispered something strange. Something impossible. "I've seen you before." Back at the downed Odyssey 9, the storm continued to intensify. Marcus and Sophia waited anxiously, watching Jack and Ellie's vital signs on the emergency tracker. The signal was weakening. They had no idea their colleagues had just risked their lives to warm a stranger who somehow recognized Jack despite the impossibility. And beneath the red sands, something else had awakened. The wind grew less violent now, but inside their makeshift sand shelter, silence hung heavy. Jack and Ellie remained pressed against the alien woman's cold body, sharing their warmth. Their muscles ached. Their suits were compromised from exposure. But they didn't move, couldn't move. They had no idea what she was, no idea why she appeared almost human, yet clearly wasn't, no idea how she had survived buried under the Martian sand. But they had made their choice. She would not die alone. Just before Martian dawn, she stirred again. Her fingers flexed, then her arms. Finally, those luminous silver eyes opened fully. She gasped sharply as if waking from a nightmare and sat up with alarming speed. Jack reached out to steady her, but she flinched away violently. Her eyes darted wildly, scanning everything around her. "No," she whispered hoarsely. "Not again, not again." Jack raised both hands slowly, palms out. "It's okay. You're safe. No one's going to hurt you." Her rapid breathing slowed, but she remained silent, staring at him with those unnerving silver eyes. Then she examined her own body, her arms, her skin, her torn clothing. A visible shudder ran through her. "I was supposed to be gone," she whispered. Ellie leaned forward cautiously. "You were almost gone. We found you buried under the sand." The woman touched her chest where they had wrapped the thermal blanket. Her expression was unreadable, alien yet strangely familiar. "Warmth," she murmured. "You gave warmth. No one ever gave me that." They guided her carefully back to the crashed Odyssey. Marcus and Sophia stared in amazement as Jack entered with a strange, glowing woman beside him. "Who is that?" Sophia asked, eyes wide. "I don't know," Jack answered truthfully, "but she's alive and scared." They sat her near the last functioning heater unit. She didn't sit normally, instead crouching in a peculiar position, like someone accustomed to hiding. Her silver eyes studied each human with equal parts curiosity and wariness. After a while, Ellie offered her water. The woman sniffed it carefully before drinking, her hand trembling slightly. "I remember sand. Cold pain," she said slowly in halting English. Then arms, soft, warm. "I felt safe." "Do you remember your name?" Jack asked gently. She paused, considering. "Nova," she finally replied, the word emerging like an ancient sigh. Ellie smiled. "Nova. That's beautiful." Nova tilted her head slightly. "It means born of stars in my language." Jack suddenly noticed something odd. Nova watched him more intently than anyone else, as if trying to place his face from a forgotten memory. He asked carefully, "Have we met before?" Her face twitched subtly, lips parting. "I don't know," she whispered, "but I saw you in the dark. In dreams." A deep chill ran down Jack's spine that had nothing to do with the failing heater. Marcus leaned forward. "Dreams?" Nova nodded suavely. "When I was frozen, I saw faces." His face, she gestured toward Jack, many times. Jack remained silent, unable to explain why her voice seemed strangely familiar, as if his body recognized her even if his mind didn't. Later that day, while Nova rested, Ellie ran a preliminary scan. When the results appeared on her tablet, her hands shook visibly. "Jack," she called quietly, showing him the screen. "This isn't normal xenobiology. Look at these genetic markers. Her DNA has human sequences, actual Earth-origin gene patterns." Jack stared at the screen in disbelief. "You mean?" "Yes," Ellie whispered. "She's not just alien. She's part human." Outside, a proximity sensor blinked silently. Something, or someone, was moving just beyond the ridge. But no one noticed, not even Nova. Not yet. Nova sat near the heater, still and silent as a shadow. Her silver eyes reflected the orange glow, but her mind seemed far away. Outside the shuttle, the storm had momentarily calmed. Inside, however, tension was only beginning to build. Dr. Ellie Chun paced across the small cabin, clutching her tablet. Her hands trembled slightly. She had analyzed Nova's blood 3 times now, with identical results each time. "This is scientifically impossible," she whispered to herself. Jack approached her from behind. "What else did you find?" Ellie turned the screen toward him. "Her blood. It's not just similar to human DNA. It contains actual human genetic sequences, but they've been altered, enhanced, merged with genetic patterns we've never encountered before." Jack frowned. "Are you saying she's not purely alien?" Ellie nodded slowly. "She's a hybrid, Jack, and not a naturally occurring one. Someone engineered her." Marcus joined them, his scientist curiosity piqued. Wait, are you saying she was created in a lab? Yes, Ellie confirmed. Someone deliberately combined human and alien genetic material to create her. Sophia looked troubled. But why? Who would do that? Before anyone could theorize further, Nova herself spoke. They try to make peace. Everyone turned to face her. She stood slowly, her luminous eyes fixed on Ellie's tablet. My creators, she continued, her musical voice tinged with old pain. They engineered me as a bridge. I was designed to carry two worlds within one form, so they could end their war. Her voice cracked slightly as she added, but they changed their minds. Jack stepped closer. What happened? Nova looked down at her hands. I became too human. They feared I would feel, that I would choose sides. So they abandoned me in the dust alone to die. No one spoke. The heater hummed softly in the background. Ellie finally broke the silence. How long were you out there? Nova shook her head. I don't know. I remember faces, lights, then darkness, then your arms. She looked directly at Jack. You were warm, even in the storm. Jack's heartbeat quickened. Why me? Why did you say you saw me in your dreams? Nova hesitated. I don't know, but something inside me remembers you. Like a melody half sung, like a story I never finished. Outside, the proximity sensor beeped faintly. Unnoticed. Unheard. Inside, Marcus pulled up an old survey map from the shuttle's damaged database. This region of Mars was designated for a classified project during the first contact period, a facility called Harmony Station. All records were purged after the Treaty of Olympus. He looked at the others meaningfully. What if she was created there? Ellie nodded. It fits both chronologically and geographically. Jack gazed out the viewport toward the endless red desert. If that facility still exists beneath the surface, it might hold answers. Maybe even others like her. Nova stood shakily. I don't want others, she said softly. I just want to know why they made me feel human and then discarded me like waste. Her words hung heavy in the air. Ellie placed a hand gently on Nova's shoulder. You're not waste. You're a miracle. Suddenly, the proximity sensor beeped loudly, impossible to ignore. Marcus rushed to the console. Something's moving out there, he reported tensely. Not human, not natural. A shadow appeared at the edge of their scanner range. Nova turned deathly pale, her luminescence dimming. They found me. Who? Jack demanded. Nova's eyes flickered with an inner light. The ones who made me. She looked at the group with quiet dread. They've come to finish what they started. The sensor continued beeping, each pulse faster than the last. Inside the damaged shuttle, no one spoke. All eyes were fixed on the small red dot moving steadily closer through the Martian landscape. Nova backed away from the viewport, her breath forming a small cloud against the glass. It's not a scout, she whispered. It's a purifier. They don't communicate. They don't negotiate. They simply eliminate anomalies. Jack looked to Ellie. Can we run? She shook her head grimly. Not in this terrain, not with our damaged equipment. And Nova's still weakened. Marcus checked their communication array. We could send a distress signal to the orbital station, but it would take hours for anyone to reach us. We don't have hours, Sophia said tensely. Then crack. A soft sound carried through the thin Martian atmosphere. Footsteps, but unlike any human gait. Heavy, metallic, methodical. Nova's luminescence dimmed further. They've sent a sentinel. Ellie frowned. What's that? Nova's voice was hollow. A machine designed to erase secrets. And I am the final secret they want buried. Outside, just beyond the ridge, the shadow materialized into form. It stood nearly 12 feet tall, encased in crystalline armor that reflected the red Martian landscape. Its head was featureless, smooth as polished obsidian. Blue lights pulsed across its chest in complex patterns that IT paused near the shuttle and tilted its head slightly, scanning. Then it spoke in a voice like grinding crystal. Subject Nova. Active. Human interference detected. Protocol. Permanent deletion. Inside, the humans scramble for options. Jack grabbed an emergency flare gun. It's not much, but maybe I can distract it, he whispered. Nova stopped him. No, it will kill you without hesitation. Jack met her gaze steadily. Then let it come for me instead of you. Ellie interrupted with a desperate plan. I can reconfigure the shuttle's power core. If we lure it inside and overload the system, we could destroy it. Sophia gasped. That would obliterate what's left of the Odyssey. Ellie nodded grimly. Yes, and maybe us too. But it's our only chance. Nova observed these strangers, people she'd known for less than a day, now preparing to sacrifice everything for her. She stepped forward. No, she said firmly. Let me face it. This is my burden. Jack grasped her wrist. We didn't drag you out of the sand just to watch you walk back into danger alone. Their strategy was quickly formulated. Nova would position herself near the airlock, visible enough to draw the Sentinel inside. Ellie would trigger the power overload. The others would shelter behind the reinforced bulkhead, ready to move at precisely the right moment. The Martian afternoon was eerily still. Then a metallic foot struck the entry ramp. The Sentinel entered, ducking its massive frame through the human-sized doorway. It immediately locked on Nova. Target confirmed. It intoned. Nova's eyes blazed with silver fire. I remember you, she said with unnatural calm. You erased the others. My siblings, my Kent. I watched through glass as they screamed. The Sentinel advanced. Your memory function is an error in need of correction. No, she replied, stepping backwards slowly, deliberately drawing it deeper into the shuttle. It's my weapon. At that moment, Ellie activated the overload sequence. The shuttle's systems flashed red. Warning alarms blared. The Sentinel pivoted toward the sound. Too late, the explosion ripped through the Martian atmosphere, briefly outshining the distant sun. Debris scattered across the red landscape. Jack and the others shielded themselves from the blast as best they could. When the dust settled, the shuttle was completely destroyed. The Sentinel was nothing but scattered fragments, and lying in the sand was Nova, injured but breathing. Jack rushed to her side. You're alive. She opened her eyes slowly, meeting his gaze. You pulled me from the sand once, she said with a faint smile. Now I saved us all. The wreckage of the Odyssey still smoldered. Pieces of metal and equipment lay strewn across the red landscape. The Sentinel was nothing more than blackened shards of crystal and circuitry, and somehow, Nova had survived. Her silver-blue skin was cracked in places, revealing a soft glow beneath. Jack knelt beside her, supporting her as she sat up. How did you survive that? He asked and wondered. Nova's eyes flickered open. They engineered me to withstand what others couldn't, she explained weakly. But they never expected me to remember. Later, in a makeshift shelter constructed from salvaged shuttle parts and emergency supplies, Ellie ran another scan on Nova. The results astonished everyone. Her neural patterns were firing at impossible speeds, like a quantum computer rather than an organic brain. More incredibly, her injured tissue was regenerating before their eyes. Her body isn't just healing, Ellie whispered in awe. It's evolving. Nova sat quietly in the corner, hugging her knees to her chest. I didn't ask for this, she said softly, but my body remembers what they programmed me to be. Jack approached, settling beside her. Tell us everything. Nova looked up, her luminous eyes now dimmed with exhaustion and something almost human sorrow. They didn't just design me to be a bridge between species, she began. They created me as a failsafe, a living weapon. The others listened in silence as she continued. They feared that if diplomacy failed, humans would become too powerful. So they engineered me as their contingency, a being who could learn, adapt, and neutralize threats without hesitation or remorse. She examined her glowing hands. But something went wrong in the process. I developed emotions too complex for their programming. I questioned. I empathized. I protected. I cared. Sophia whispered. So they abandoned you. Nova nodded. They declare me defective. But perhaps I was simply becoming something real. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath them. Everyone froze. Nova rose quickly to her feet. It's not another Sentinel, she announced. Jack's eyes narrowed. Then what? She looked eastward. Something ancient. Something awakening. Hours passed. While Ellie analyzed fragments of the destroyed Sentinel, Nova walked alone to the edge of a small impact crater filled with frozen carbon dioxide. She stared at her reflection in the ice, alien features looking back, but inside she felt increasingly human. As the wind swept across the desolate landscape, more memories surfaced. A gentle hand stroking her hair, a voice calling her daughter, a sterile chamber filled with equipment, a human scientist whispering urgently, if you ever wake up, run. Without warning, the ice surface cracked. Nova stepped back as a holographic projection emanated from the fissure, a message encoded to her unique biosignature, hidden for who knew how long. The projection showed an aging human scientist, his face lined with worry and determination. Nova, if you're seeing this, it means they tried to erase you. But you are more than code and genetic sequencing. You have a soul. Inside your chest is not just a heart. It's a key to something buried beneath the Martian surface. Harmony Station still exists, with all its secrets and others like you. Nova collapsed to her knees. I'm not alone. That night, she shared everything with the humans who had saved her. They sat in reverent silence as the full truth emerged. I was created at Harmony Station, deep beneath Mars, she explained. And I believe it's still operational after all this time. Ellie considered this. Then that's where we need to go next. Marcus looked uncertain. What if there's more danger waiting? Jack stood resolutely. Then we face it together. He looked at Nova with conviction. Because she's not just a key. She's the beginning of something new. Nova smiled faintly. And deep beneath the Martian surface, something ancient stirred to life. Darkness fell once more on the red planet. This time, however, it brought no peace. 3 ships pierced the thin atmosphere, silent as shadows and darker than the void between stars. They carried no identifying markers, no running lights. Inside them waited something far more dangerous than mere sentinels. In their makeshift shelter, Jack sat beside a small heat source, watching Nova rest. Her breathing was steady now, but her hands still pulsed with soft light, evidence of the power she couldn't fully suppress. Ellie studied the holographic message Nova had discovered. It references her core as a key, but doesn't specify what it unlocks. Nova opened her eyes. A gateway, she said quietly. One they never intended to open. Sophia, who had been keeping watch outside, suddenly called out, "Something's coming." Everyone rushed to look. Above them, 3 obsidian ships hovered in eerie silence. From a central vessel, a single pod descended, touching down with unnatural precision. The pod's door slid open. A tall figure emerged, humanoid in shape, but wearing elaborate armor of shifting colors. Its face was concealed behind a golden mask etched with symbols none of them recognized. Nova's breath caught. The architects, Marcus frowned. Who? The ones who created me, Nova whispered, and then ordered my termination. Jack stepped forward protectively, his hand on the makeshift weapon they'd salvaged from the wreckage. What do they want now? He demanded. Nova's eyes never left the masked figure. They want to control the future, and I am the only piece of their past they couldn't successfully erase. The architect approached with measured steps, carrying no visible weapons. When it spoke, its voice resonated with metallic undertones. Return the hybrid. Her core provides access to Harmony Station. That facility must remain sealed. She was never intended to awaken. Jack positioned himself between Nova and the alien. She's not going anywhere. The mask being tilted its head slightly. You protect her. How human. It raised one hand. So be it. The other 2 ships opened simultaneously. Dozens of figures in black crystalline armor descended, each wielding weapons that glowed with cold blue light. They moved with mechanical precision. No hesitation, no sound, no mercy. Nova turned to her human companions. Run. Now. Jack gripped her hand firmly. We're not leaving you. Ellie activated a small explosive charge they'd positioned near their shelter entrance. If they cross this line, we bring the whole ridge down on them. The first architect's soldier advanced with inhuman speed. Nova raised her hand instinctively, and a wave of silver energy burst from her palm. The attacker froze in place, literally. Ice crystals spread across its armor until the entire form shattered like glass. Everyone stared in shock. Nova's eyes blazed with inner light. I was engineered to destroy, but I choose to protect. But they were hopelessly outnumbered. Dozens of black-armored enemies advanced relentlessly. Nova, Jack, and the others retreated deeper into their shelter. Ellie shouted, "We need to move now, or we're trapped." Nova turned toward a narrow passage behind them, one that seemed to lead deeper beneath the Martian surface. She spoke 2 words with quiet certainty. Harmony Station. They ran. Behind them, energy weapons fired. Rock shattered. Sand and dust filled the air. Nova's glowing hands illuminated their desperate path forward. She wasn't afraid anymore. She wasn't a secret to be buried. She was a revelation that as they disappeared into the ancient tunnels. The masked architect leader issued a final command. Seal all entrances. If she reaches the central core, everything changes. The tunnels of Harmony Station stretched before them, silent and dim. Ancient technology hummed softly beneath their feet, dormant yet not dead. Crystalline lights flickered along the walls, responding to Nova's presence. Jack held Nova's hand as they ventured deeper. Behind them, Ellie, Marcus, and Sophia followed cautiously, weapons ready. Nova paused before a massive sealed doorway. Her fingers glowed brighter as they approached. "This is it," she whispered, "where I was created and where everything was meant to end." Jack squeezed her hand. "Not end. Begin." She placed her palm against the scanner panel. It analyzed her genetic signature, recognized her, accepted her. The massive doors slid open with a soft hiss of preserved atmosphere. Inside lay a vast chamber filled with transparent stasis pods. Some were shattered, others still glowed with faint inner light. In the chamber's center stood a crystalline structure pulsing with soft radiance, shaped almost like a human heart. Ellie gasped. "Is that?" Nova nodded. "The Harmony Core, a living quantum system designed to link species across barriers of biology and understanding. It needed a special key to activate it, someone containing the genetic patterns of multiple worlds." Jack looked at her with dawning comprehension. "You." Nova approached the core slowly, memories flooding back with each step. The laboratories, the pain, the cold isolation, the voice of her creator saying, "You will never truly belong to either world." But now her footsteps echoed with purpose. She placed her hand upon the core. It immediately illuminated, silver, gold, blue, alive with possibility. Outside the facility, architect soldiers reached the sealed entrances. The masked leader raised one hand. "Final warning. Neutralize the hybrid before she completes the connection." But it was already too late. Inside, Nova spoke with quiet conviction. "I am not just a creation. I'm a choice." She looked back at the humans who had saved her. "They gave me warmth when I had no name, no past, no future. They treated me like I mattered." Her voice trembled with emotion. "They didn't make me. They loved me." The core pulsed faster, brighter. Suddenly, across the solar system, dormant communication arrays activated. Hidden data, caches unlocked. Thousands of classified files about the Harmony Project, forgotten hybrids, and suppressed diplomatic initiatives emerged simultaneously on every network. The architect leader cried out, "She's reactivating the truth. Stop her." But Harmony Station's ancient defenses came online, powered by Nova's unique energy signature. Outside, many architect soldiers dropped their weapons. Some fell to their knees as buried memories resurfaced. Point one whispered in disbelief, "I had a sister. She looked like her." Inside, Nova collapsed. "Don't have much time," she gasped. "The synchronization is draining me completely." Jack rushed to her side. "No, stay with us." Nova smiled weakly, touching his face. "I was created in a laboratory. I existed in dust and cold. But I live now here in warmth." Her body began to glow, brighter and brighter until they couldn't look directly at her. She glanced at Ellie. "Tell them I wasn't a weapon. I was a beginning." Then the light expanded, gentle as a sunrise breaking through storm clouds. When it finally faded, Nova was gone. But the Harmony Core remained active, pulsing with new life. And a single message transmitted across every communication channel, to every world, every species. The bridge has been built. Now walk it together. 1 year later, a monument stood in the center of New Geneva on Earth. A silver figure with luminous eyes and a serene smile. The inscription read simply, "She was engineered to be used, but chose to feel instead." Jack stood before it, his hand resting on the base. Behind him, alien children played alongside human ones beneath a bright blue sky. Representatives from a dozen worlds discussed new treaties and shared technologies. The stars above seemed somehow closer now, more welcoming, connected in ways they hadn't been before. Nova was gone, but her warmth had forever changed the universe.